Are you back on, Phil?
Sorry, say again?
It's a thing that's just popped up from Gabe.
Yeah, I'm just dealing with things. Okay, good.
One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Andiamo con la premiazione dei 60 metri della categoria ragazzi, premia ancora Giorgio Tannisi, presidente della nuova atletica dal Friuli. Al terzo posto Pucca Gorla, atletica del Pro Patria Busto Arsizio, 8,39. Al secondo posto Manuel Fantino, Libertas Mereto, 8,23. Si aggiudica la gara dei 60 ragazzi col tempo di 7,90, uno dei protagonisti dell'atletica ragazzi del Friuli Venezia Giulia, per l'atletica 2000 Codroipo Simone Mariuzzo. Ecco che è arrivato anche il terzo, restate sul podio che è arrivato anche il terzo, la Pro Patria Busto Arsizio. Procediamo anche con la premiazione della stacca dei 60 ragazze. Sempre con Giorgio Dannisi, andiamo alla terza classificata, Chloe Santolin da Vicenza, gruppo sportivo Leonicena, 8,80. Al secondo posto Agata Sellonati, nuova polisportiva Libertas Sacile, 8,68. Vince la gara di 60 ragazzi, sempre per la nuova polisportiva Libertas Sacile con 8,42, Beatrice Vairoli. Ricordo che alle 18:26 partono le staffette 4% maschili, quindi portarsi assolutamente in corrumba subito, altrimenti non si corre.
Oh, sorry, I did forget to mute the mic. That wasn't very pleasant. Sorry about that.
Dopo la staffetta assoluta maschile si correrà la gara dei 500 promozionali esordienti.
Can you still hear me, Ellen?
Tutti gli esordienti che hanno gareggiato nelle varie
Ellen,
prove.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can, yep.
Okay, sorry. I'm just switching around because a few small technical problems, not problems, things that we just need to tweak a little bit to improve the sound quality. We're basically about 7 out of 10 and we want to improve it a little bit.
Okay, no worries.
Sorry, I've just switched servers around at this end. That's half the problem, you see. If we've got the event servers in Frankfurt, and that's close to where the sports server is, and I'm using Spanish servers. That's why I was wondering about speed tests on Friday. If you're both in the same vicinity, you're likely to be synced, as I say, in terms of you going into very similar servers.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a huge difference, just trying to improve the quality a bit. Alright, let's see what Gab has to say. He's probably listening to us talking about this.
Very overexposed, isn't it, that track?
Say again, sorry?
I just said very overexposed, isn't it, that track in the sunlight?
Yes, it's
Hopefully we haven't got any high
there.
jump.
Well, no high jump today, fortunately. No pole vault. Well, they brought everything forward by about 15 minutes, but the women's high jump's been brought forward about 3/4 of an hour.
That's all right for me. Get off there, get in front of the game. Oh, here we see a very diligent official making sure that... What are they making sure of there? They're just measuring everything out in the shot put circle.
Okay.
I love that the technology's got its own umbrella there. Those water slides look fun, don't they?
Oh, gosh.
Don't they look great fun?
Look inviting.
Love me a water slide.
I don't know quite where we are, but we must be near the coast somewhere. I mean, I know exactly, you know, Lignano's right on the coast, but I have a feeling that the meeting's actually a little bit, the actual athletics stadium's a bit inland somewhere. I'm not actually sure where the stadium is.
What have we got going on here then? Where are these people coming from and to? These must be some... I was going to say, these must be some local 400-metre runners, but they look like Slovenians, don't they?
Yeah,
that looks like Slovenia kit.
Let's just have a quick look. Well, they're just wandering off.
2 Slovenians.
There are
there's a
to be
relay.
Yeah.
It's the relay.
Well, there are supposed to be some domestic events, but I think they've as good as cancelled the domestic meeting. I'm not quite sure why. Anyway, let's not get too involved in that.
No, oh, absolutely not.
So we've got about 10 minutes before we go live. Let me just make sure everything's all right with our chum, Gabrielle.
That...
Okay. Gabrielle wants us to pay attention to him. And, okay, so he wants us to...
commentate on the Slovenians taken to the track.
Yeah.
And Malta as well, it seems.
Right. So we're looking forward to an exciting meeting here in Lignano in the Stadio Tegil, and it's about 30 degrees there. Here we see some of the magnificent local organising committee of this 35th edition of the and I'll have to try and work very hard to pronounce it, the Meeting Internazionale Sporti Solidarità, otherwise known as the 11th Trofeo Ottavio Mizzone. We've got a packed lineup during the course of this evening. We have no less than 13 events on the track and 2 field events as well, including a very high quality women's long jump competition. And alongside me, I've got, as always, Ellen Ellard.
Yeah, good afternoon, Phil. Delighted to be alongside you for this one, building up a few athletes within this field, their final preparations before heading over to the Olympic Games in Paris. Others who maybe have had a bit of disappointment not making their national teams for the Olympics, having to pick themselves back up and chase times for next season.
Attenzione signori, le staffette 4% nazionale slovena in quinta, nazionale di Malta in quarta corsia. Partita la staffetta 4%. Se ne va veloce via la Slovenia, vediamo il primo cambio. Lunghissimo il cambio di Malta, più schiacciato quello della Slovenia. Super lungo anche questo secondo cambio. Sempre avanti la Slovenia. Bello questo ultimo cambio della Slovenia. Un applauso. Slovenia, Malta, Krakownik, 39-38, grande tempo della Slovenia. A 18 centesimi dal primato nazionale sloveno, e a 39-20. E hanno tentato record nazionale. di Malta. E quindi è un nuovo record nazionale di Malta. Un applauso agli atleti di Malta trascinati da Beppe Grillo nell'ultima frazione 40 e 51. 13:51, new national record relay. Era un record nazionale recentissimo, migliorò di 6 centesimi. Bravi ragazzi di Malta che quindi continuano a migliorare con un paio di atleti ormai di buon livello internazionale e stanno crescendo anche altri giovani ragazzi di Malta. È la gara di passaggio, Stefano, fra il pre-meeting e il meeting internazionale di Lignano, che questa edizione 2024 la comincia con il record nazionale per la nazionale di Malta. Infatti abbiamo ancora l'ultima gara promozionale dei 500 per la categoria esordienti e poi entreremo nel vivo. Avete già sentito la voce di Freddy Sticker che vi accompagnerà nel 35esimo meeting internazionale di Lignano San Teodoro. E manca veramente poco, l'ultima carrellata con i nostri giovani atleti esordienti qui a Lignano San Teodoro, una grande festa per loro e poi tutti a guardare questo meeting che, come già preannunciato, si preannunciava uno dei più grandi meeting di questi ultimi anni per la presenza di tantissimi atleti di livello mondiale. Ragazzi di Malta l'abbiamo stabilito facendo la medaglia di bronzo ai campionati dei Balcani in Turchia nel mese di maggio, lo migliorano a Lignano. E cominciamo con gli applausi, forza tutta Lignano, voglio sentire, dai, oh, oh, oh. Bravissimi, qualcuno che blocchi tutti gli esordienti in modo che riceveranno tutti quanti la medaglia, quindi facciamo in modo di premiare subito tutti gli esordienti. Continuiamo con gli applausi che arrivano e salutano anche qualcuno. Questi sono gli esordienti che hanno preso parte oggi quella festa Lignano San Teodoro nelle gare del Vortex, del Sarilungo, dei 50 e questo finale contro 500. Ecco l'organizzazione della nuova atletica dal Friuli che consegna subito il giusto riconoscimento a questi piccoli campioncini. Vi ricordo che con questa pre-meeting abbiamo chiuso questa prima parte, ci sono ovviamente ancora certe gare che devono essere svolte ma che le vedremo poi a fine meeting, sicuramente il salto in alto della categoria ragazze che lo vedremo dopo, quindi bisogna avere pazienza, e anche le staffette ragazzi e ragazze, cadetti, cadette, allievi e allieve. Il meeting termina alle 20:37, per cui diciamo che dalle 20:45 c'è un problema, ieri abbiamo gareggiato fino alle 10 di sera Rumiera, per cui non c'è assolutamente problema, anzi continuiamo con la festa proprio di Lignano Sabbia d'Oro.
Signore e signori, siamo pronti per la prima gara dopo la staffetta che faceva un po' da antipasto del 35esimo meeting internazionale atletica leggera sport e solidarietà Lignano Sabbia d'Oro, edizione numero 35. Voglio ringraziare Stefano Rubiana che ha lavorato tanto in questo pomeriggio e che mi affiancherà in questa prima serata, perché poi saremo tutti qua fino alle 21. Alle 21 c'è il maxi schermo per vedere la finale del calcio, ma adesso ci sarà il meeting con i campioni dell'atletica mondiale. Ne vedremo tanti che saranno protagonisti a Parigi tra un mese, anzi di meno, perché la cerimonia d'apertura delle Olimpiadi ormai è imminente, sono 2 settimane neanche, per l'atletica leggera sono quasi 3, però Parigi arriva e qualcuno passa da Lignano, per esempio Ivana Spanovic che lo scorso anno venne qua a fare la gara per provare la rincorsa, poi sappiamo come finì a Budapest con il grande salto di Ivana, campionessa mondiale di atletica leggera. Stefano, un gran bel inizio con tanti ragazzi che adesso sono in tribuna.
È una grande festa, sì, qui a Lignano Sabbia d'Oro, un'occasione per tutti per rimanere qui allo stadio, per gustarsi questo meeting di grandissimo valore, per tifare per gli azzurri, che tanti azzurri saranno impegnati poi alle Olimpiadi, e tanti nostri corregionali, ne vedremo una proprio a breve sugli ostacoli, poi anche nei 1500, sono proprio le nostre atlete. Io sono Friuli Venezia Giulia, l'orgoglio della nostra regione, ospiti di gente unica come dicevamo ieri, quindi grande spettacolo a Lignano.
Quest'anno un anno particolare per l'atletica azzurra, un campionato europeo mostruosamente positivo, con davvero i nostri azzurri che si sono fatti valere in tutti i modi, facendo quello che era riuscito nella storia dei campionati europei solo all'Unione Sovietica, la DDR, la vittoria di 11 ore, 24 medaglie. E fra poco inizieremo con la prima gara con una ragazza che è nata a un tiro di schioppo da qua, la Tisana, quindi facciamo un grande applauso per Gianna Carmassi.
Grande Gianna, la nostra grande Gianna Carmassi, ricordo friulana, che ha cominciato la sua attività nella canna atletica con...
E adesso andiamo a vederle tutte le protagoniste di questo 100 ostacoli. In corsia 2, lane 2, rappresentante in Serbia per la Serbia, la campionessa nazionale Milica Emini. In corsia 3 il tifo sarà tutto per lei, alla Spezia ha vinto gli assoluti, 2 titoli assoluti consecutivi per lei, col personale di 12,87, la friulana Gianna Carmassi. Corsia 4 l'Infor, attenzione alla ragazza migliore al via, 12,54, corso quest'anno, USA Amber Hughes. In corsia 5 la campionessa nazionale, 2 medaglie d'oro, bronzo ai mondiali juniores, lo scorso anno terza all'Europea Under 23, dall'Ungheria Anna Tot. E in corsia 6 ha stabilito quest'anno il record nazionale juniores di Slovenia con 13,30 Lana Andolsek. via valido per questi 102 ostacoli subito l'americana Amber Hughes davanti, ragazza finalizza 3, molto bene Gianna Carmassi che prova a rimontare, Hughes e Carmassi fino all'ultimo ostacolo, vince Hughes davanti a Carmassi, 12,91 per Amber Hughes, purtroppo vento in faccia, 1,6, sfortunate le ragazze. E fino all'ottavo ostacolo, testa a testa fra Amber Hughes e Gianna Carmassi. Vedete sul tabellone, là dopo l'arrivo, il replay, adesso è in pieno sole, un po' difficile, la vittoria per l'americana Amber Hughes, ragazza di caratura internazionale, 12,90 ufficiale, vedete è diventato verde il numeretto sul tabellone. Un'altra ottima prova per Gianna Carmassi che vorrei applaudire perché la ragazza friulana è rimasta fuori dai giochi olimpici per 2 posizioni del ranking. Forza Giada, 13,09 per lei quest'oggi, con meno 1,6 di vento, diciamo non aiutate da euro per usare un eufemismo. E la prossima emozione tra ragazze che a livello internazionale si sono già fatte valere, che saranno fra le protagoniste anche un paio a Parigi, le ragazze della FISPES paralimpiche che saranno in gara quest'oggi qui a Lignano nei 100 metri. È una gara dimostrativa perché ci sono 3 ragazze di 3 categorie differenti paralimpiche, come sapete, o se non lo sapete provo a spiegarvelo. Ogni categoria paralimpica, a seconda di quello che è la visita medica che dichiara la categoria, da una categoria che prevede naturalmente diverse gare, ogni categoria ha le sue gare, 100, 200, 400 eccetera. Quest'oggi ci saranno i 100 metri con 3 fra le migliori interpreti azzurre e fra le migliori interpreti mondiali di queste specialità.
Andiamo allora subito con la prima premiazione con Mauro Bordin, Presidente del Consiglio della Regione del Friuli Venezia Giulia, e Laura Giorgi, Sindaco del Comune di Lignano San Pedro. Il pubblico di Lignano attribuisce il suo grande applauso alla vincitrice dei 100 ostacoli donne from USA, Amber Hughes, 12,90, 12,90 for Amber.
La giovane ragazza degli Stati Uniti con delle unghie veramente particolari porta a casa il trofeo realizzato dai ragazzi del Melograno che hanno creato i trofei di tutto quello che è il meeting, lo ricordiamo, sport e solidarietà. Stefano, è un motto che accompagna il meeting di Lignano da sempre.
Da sempre, questo dobbiamo ringraziare soprattutto Giorgio Tannisi, la sua nuova atletica dal Friuli, a cui va tutto l'applauso del pubblico. Quindi grazie Giorgio veramente per questa tua grande realizzazione.
E ora andiamo con le ragazze dei 100 metri FISPES, categoria T12, personale 12,58, 2 bronzi nei 200 e 400 ai mondiali di Parigi, Valentina Petrillo. In corsia 3 invece nel 2002 è stato ora ai giochi europei giovanili 2 anni fa, 13,90, categoria T13, Giorgia Fascetta, la più giovane delle ragazze, classe 2006. E invece un monumento del comitato paralimpico, non solo italiano ma mondiale, 2 ori e 3 argenti paralimpici nei 100 e nel lungo, 8 medaglie mondiali. Signore e signori, Martina Caironi. in teoria Valentina Petrillo, Giorgia Fascetta, Martina Cheroni nell'ordine, lo ricordiamo, 3 categorie diverse, la lotta per loro è contro il cronometro e soprattutto per i tanti applausi che farete una volta che sarà dato lo sparo. Eccole, Valentina Petrillo, Giorgio Fascetta, Martina Cheroni in questo 100 metri delle piste, un grande applauso da parte di Lignano, attenzione va veloce, la Petrillo che chiude in 12,80, vento meno 2,4, anche loro sinceramente non fortunate. Comunque per Valentina Petrillo c'è il primato stagionale, brava Valentina, 12,80, aveva fatto 12,98 quest'anno. L'ufficiale per Valentina Petrillo è 12,79 con le 3 ragazze che ballano là mentre fanno la fotoricordo, 14,13 per Giorgia Fascetta, Martina Cheroni avvicina allo stagionale, 14,65 per lei. E fra poco, vedete, si stanno preparando, è un appuntamento consueto, quello per gli Special Olympics, i nostri atleti speciali. Facciamoli un grande applauso, signore e signori, loro sono sempre i grandi protagonisti del meeting di Lignano. Tra poco naturalmente ve li presenteremo, i 4 protagonisti di questa prima serie, saranno 2 le serie degli atleti speciali.
Intanto chiamo anche Martina Cheroni e tutte e 3 le atlete che hanno corso, portatevi al podio.
Well, welcome to Lignano and the 35th Meeting Internazionale Sporti Solidarita, otherwise known as the 11th Trofeo Ottavio Mizzone. Ottavio Mizzone, of course, the famous fashion designer. Well, this is an all-encompassing, all-embracing meeting, and we start off with some Special Olympian sprints. And alongside me, I have that well-known co-commentator as well, Ellen Ellard. Good evening, Ellen.
Oh, good evening, Phil. It's that time of the season, isn't it, where we all start to get a bit excited over the last couple of days. We have seen some incredible performances on the Diamond League circuit, on the Continental Tour circuit, as well as athletes start to prime themselves and hit those peak times and distances and heights before the Olympics. And as Phil rightly said, we have a couple of races coming up. We've already had one, the 100-metre hurdles for the women, won by Amber Hughes of the USA. Dominant performance for her. Chased, though, down by the local Italian Carmassi for second. And 2 Special Olympics races coming up first. Lanes 1 to 5 occupied. We're due to have an athlete in lane 4, but that appears to be empty. So 4 veteran athletes in the Special Olympics category going over 50 metres. Mauro Michelin, who will stride away for the victory. One of the things we love to see across the Continental Tour circuit, particularly at bronze level and challenger level, the opportunity to see local athletes at various levels compete amongst those who, like we said, might be heading off to the Olympics in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, and indeed several of these athletes competed in last year's Special Olympics held in Berlin, and Special Olympics has very certainly a place in the heart of the Italian athletics family. They've got a very large Paralympic and Special Olympic organisation, and next year, in the early part of next year, the Special Olympics Winter Edition comes to Turin. So just saw there a win for Mauro Michelin. But I should say, apologies, Monfort Caprizola, but there we can see 10:06. It's given as a win for Michelin, though. We move on to the second of the 2 Special Olympics races over 50 metres. 5 competitors in this race. There's Dennis Petrodi on the inside, 50 years of age now. Just making sure everybody's in position. Even Petoni, 46 years of age. So all of these men veteran competitors. Some of the numbers might have been slightly changed around. There might have been some receding, but number 105.
E non c'è un momento di pausa mentre c'è la premiazione per le 3 ragazze della Fispes.
105 was Andrea Pitta, and out on the outside, this is Enrico Nicoletti.
Bravo Dennis.
So just a recap of the 5 men on the start line. Of course, this is a 6-lane track, and as you'll see later on with the middle distance races, it's a very compact track indeed. On the inside we have Petroldi, and then moving outwards, Petone, Danisi, Pitta and Nicoletti.
In mezzo a loro, attenzione perché c'è l'uomo più veloce del pianeta, Christian Johnson.
Once this event's been concluded, we move on to the field with the men's shot put coming up very shortly. Scheduled to get underway at 7:10 local time in Lignano. And in case you're wondering where Lignano is, well, we're out on the Adriatic coast. We're only about 30 kilometers from the Slovenian border. So it's Petrolde away very quickly on the inside, and who's very experienced in Special Olympic races, taking the win in 9:58. So a good win there for Petrolde over his fellow Special Olympians. Big smiles all round. Big congratulations to the third winner of this evening. As Ellen said, we've already had a hurdles race won by Amber Hughes, the United States, and then we've also had a what's called Physis for various Paralympians race, and that was won by Valentina Petrillo in 12:80 over 100 metres. Special Olympians running over 50 metres in these various categories. So a good style, good sprinting style from Dennis Petroldi.
Il futuro della velocità giamaicana, un 2007 che va veramente veloce, per cui tanta Giamaica qui oggi a Lignano.
Go into the stands and enjoy themselves watching the main event, which we've got the men's and women's 100 metres heats coming up very shortly. Ellen, you've been looking down the form and looking over the events. What are you looking out for in particular tonight?
we've got there's only 2 field events, but they're 2 very well-positioned events in the men's shot put, which, like you said, Phil, coming up shortly. Zane Weir going in this one, Scott Lincoln, a number of athletes who will be off to the Olympics. So good to see where they stand before that, see if they're peaking at the right time. Zane Weir, of course, coming back from a sprained ankle as well, but he says he's close to being back to his pre-injury form as he heads off to another Olympics, the reigning European indoor champion. And of course the women's long jump as well, set to be an exciting one. And like we said, plenty of athletes who are just trying to see if they're peaking at the right time. We saw it in over the course of the last 2 Diamond League meetings, where there's been some athletes who've been really happy with the form, and we've seen a number of world records, national records start to fall, and others who maybe would have wanted a little bit more and will have to go back to the drawing board for the next 2 weeks. So just excited to see where the athletes who are heading off to the Olympics stand, and also those who may be disappointed not to be joining up with their national teams, where they how they use that energy and reset themselves for the rest of the season.
Yes, good thoughts there. Yes, indeed. I think that a women's long jump will be a really exceptional competition, with Ivana Spanovic now competing under a maiden name. She competed for a couple of years under a married name of Vuleta, but now back to a maiden name. Coming back to some sort of fitness, but she didn't really show great form in the Paris Diamond League meeting, and we'll be interested to see what the reigning world champion can do there. Here's the lineup of the men's shot put. Over to you, Ellen.
Yeah, so you can just see the men. They've gone through their warm-up preparations. You can see the chalk on the neck of some of the athletes as we wait for them to be introduced to the crowd here in Italy. Same way, just having a bit of a joke, shielding his eyes from the sun. At times the sun can be quite harsh around this track. There's not a huge amount of shelter. That is Lorenzo Delgato, the Italian. Season's best of 1951. Nick Palmer of New Zealand, the Oceania champion, in good form this season. Lifetime best set earlier on. As he's introduced to the crowd. Carl Blignol.
Quarto agli europei di Roma, terzo ai giochi del Commonwealth, da 10 anni campione nazionale di Gran Bretagna,
Scott Lincoln, also off to the Olympics, his second Olympics. He didn't make it out of qualifying in Tokyo, so he'll be looking to improve on that in Paris. Roger Steen, fourth at the Pan American Games last year. That's our best set last season, 22 meters and 8. And the man that the crowd have come to see, Zane Weir, the reigning European indoor champion, fourth at the World Indoor Champs. He was fifth in Tokyo. And that's a mark that he'll be aiming for and aiming to improve on in Paris.
Yes, we're very much a crowd favourite at these Italian meetings, but this year overtaken as the Italian #1, very much so, by Lorenzo Fabbri, who took the European title in Rome just a few weeks ago. I know Weir himself, when we talked to him on European Athletics livestream last year, was hoping he could take a gold medal in front of his home crowd, but it wasn't to be, and in fact the honours did go to another Italian, another member of the Azzurri.
Yeah, an incredible performance from Fabbri that night. As with most of the finals nights in Italy, it was the Italians who dominated and really soaked up the atmosphere in the Stadio Olimpico.
Yes, both of us were there, and it really was a fantastic 6 days of competition. Now we get underway with the men's 100 metres, the first of 3 heats. And we've got a very large contingent from Slovenia, just over the border. Matovic Dusasic, 10:51 this year, has run a bit faster last year at 10:37. Lorenzo Orlandini, good experience here, the Italian with the best of 10:70. Now Kendall Williams, former world under-20 champion back in 2014. Recently improved to 9.93 when finishing 8th in the American Olympic trials. This man as well, he's got world title, world under-18 champion back in 2017 over 200 metres. And improved recently in Spain to 10.04. It's Recite Malenga. And on the outside, second of the Slovenian contingent, Anishkarin Propotitnic. Well, we saw him in action at last year's European Under-20 Championships. Did well there, looking to improve on his recent best of 10.24. So from these 3 heats, the first in each of the 3 heats will qualify, and the 3 fastest non-automatic qualifiers will go through to the men's final, which is scheduled for 2036 Central European time. Williams just taking his time settling into his blocks. The American, very much the favourite. From the inside, Stisasic, Slovenia, Orlandi, Italy, Williams, USA, Malenga, South Africa, and Kurin Propotnic of Slovenia. Well, not much in it at the start, but now it's Malenga getting away from Williams, but Williams going through the gears over the second half of the race, just pulling away from the South African, with Kurin Propotnic coming in third. Well, the clock didn't stop as Williams went through the line. Pretty useful time. It's very warm conditions in Lignano. It's about 29 degrees at the moment. As you can see there, not much between him, only about a metre between himself and Malenga. .10.30 for Kendall Williams. Rashida Sitsway Malenga, 10.40, and Kurin Propotnic, 10.47.
So Nick Palmer into the circle for the first round of throws in the men's shot put competition. In good form this season. You can see the curve marked out at 21 metres. He has a best of 20 metres and 7, and that wouldn't be too far off it. Wait for confirmation of the first throws as they come through, and you can see the athletes warming up for the second of our men's 100-metre heats. As Phil said, the first in each heat plus the next 3 fastest times qualifying. It's different. We've seen variations across the tour this season. Some opting for just the first fastest 11 to go through. We will have confirmation of at least the first half of the field to make it into the final. As you can see, Ceccarelli just acknowledging the crowd. Another of the Italian home favourites here. The European indoor champion. What a race that was in Turkey.
Well, the idea of everybody going through on times in Rome was something of a controversy. I know there were very different opinions about it. I tend to err on the more conservative side of preferring fastest non-automatic qualifiers. Conditions can change, and they can sometimes change quite rapidly, can't they?
Absolutely, yeah. We saw that in Geneva, the meeting there, where some of the athletes had conditions that were just legal in terms of having a tailwind, and then others who were coming into a headwind with not much difference between them. That, who you've just seen raise their arms in the air, that's Will Williams. Traditionally a long jumper from the USA. He was 8th in the long jump final at the Budapest World Championships, 7th at the World Indoors this year. Beppe Grillo of Malta, 5-time national champion, set a national record this season. Michael Campbell of Jamaica, season's best of 10.23. Hasn't set a personal best since 2017. Let's see if he can correct that today. He's got a favourable lane draw in the middle. And there's the man who's going to receive a big round of applause from the crowd, Samuel Ceccarelli. Season's best from the end of June. Personal best of 10.13 from last season. And Ronald Longa, the Colombian, going in lane 5. National record holder, South American Championships bronze medalist. Gumila is the late entry of Slovenia on the outside, the under-23 athlete. Williams in 1, Grillo in 2, Campbell 3, Ceccarelli 4, Longa 5, Gumila in 6. It's underway in the second of our heats. Just the first over the line to qualify automatically, and it's fairly even. Campbell starting to pull away, Ceccarelli trying to get back in there. But it looks like Campbell will take the automatic qualifying place from the second of our men's 100-metre heats. Ceccarelli was trying to close him down, but just ran out of space in the end after Campbell had the favourable start. But it'll be a wait for the European indoor champion from Italy of whether he makes it through on fastest time. You'd imagine with that positioning, he probably will. Well, there wasn't much in there, was it? It looked like Campbell just got there on the line. As we look back through the replays, Longa just in there as well. It'll be very close between the Italian and the Colombian.
Longa coming up very quickly on the outside. I'm just wondering whether he even might have got it. But I was just looking at the wind speed from the first heat, and they were running into a minus 2.1 metres per second wind, and that's sort of justified by the finishing time in the second heat as well.
Yeah, it seems like that is settled slightly. Well, not, it's still, it looks like we've got minus 1.1 for that one. So things calming down slightly, but still into a headwind. So yeah, confirmation there that Michael Campbell did take it from Ceccarelli. And Longa, despite finishing fast, and well, not much between them at all. Must have come down to a photo finish between those two. Both given 10.40.
We're not seeing those wind readings up on the screen, but Ellen and I will keep you up to date with everything that's going on here at, as you can see at the far end of the 100 metres, the meeting Internazionale Sport e Solidarietà. It's been going for 35 years, and as I say, it's nowadays known as the Trofeo Ottavio Mizzoni.
Lorenzo Del Gatto, 30-year-old Italian, into the circle. So still waiting on confirmation of those results to start trickling through.
Apertura per Del Gatto dalle parti dei 19 metri, quest'anno stagionale per lui a 19,51.
As Del Gatto looks on. Season's best of 19 metres 51. Personal best of 1978. He's never been over the 20-metre mark, and that'll be shy of it. You can see it's the 21-metre line that's marked out, and their first attempt for Del Gatto. shy of 19 metres.
Siamo pronti invece per presentarvi la terza batteria dei 100 metri uomini. Prima pista nazionale di Eswatini, 100 e 200, Sibusiso Mazzeniwa.
So we're right back for the third and last heat of the men's 100 metres. Well, we've seen 2 wins for Michael Campbell and Kendall Williams. Who's going to join them automatically in the final? We've just seen on the outside Sebasio Matseniwa of Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, and this is the very, very talented Jamaican, 17 years of age, world under-18 lead. 10:07 recently in Kingston. Just getting a bit of very useful international experience. This man's got plenty of international experience under his belt. Semi-finalist in the 100 metres at last year's World Championships. Rohan Watson, personal best of 9:91, the fastest man in this field. Outside him, Enrico Sansin. It's improved this year to 10:54. And on the outside, the Maltese runner, Luca Bezzini. So this should, on form, be a battle between the 2 Jamaicans in lanes 3 and 4. They settle down. From the inside, Matseniwa, Card, Watson, Sanchin and Benzema. And the long-legged Gary Card out the quickest, and now really starting to get into his running, starting to pull away from Rohan Williams on his inside. Williams coming through quickly over the final 30 metres, but not quick enough to catch this young man, the 17-year-old teenage sensation, Gary Card. Let's wait for confirmation of the winning time. He really does look like the real deal. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of this young man in the years to come. A wonderfully fluid sprinting style. I have to say, with his build, he'd probably tear around the 200 metres as well. Rohan Watson, I should say, the vastly experienced Jamaican on his inside, Jamaican international. World Championships bronze last year in Budapest in the 4x1 relay. Unable to stay with tall and wonderfully fluent Gary Card.
He started to ease up as well, didn't he? He's, for his age, a very wise racer. He knew what he was doing. He knew the control and the lead he had. And even though, well, you can see there, not a huge amount between them, but still confident enough to just turn things off and save something for the final.
Yeah, not super quick in 10:45, but nevertheless gets himself into the final. And we'll bring you very shortly confirmation of those 6 finalists for a bit later on, as we now look at the lineup for the women's long jump. We've just seen Anna Menz and Anna Visabelli, the 2 Italians in this competition. Well, the first 2 Italians, there's in fact 4. This is Veronica Crida of the Brescia club. Crida we've seen at European Under-20 competition in the past. Maya Bedrak and now Tiffany Yu of China, 3rd in the Asian Games last year when she set a Hong Kong-China record of 6:50. Anissa Naldi competes for the Carabinieri, the police club. It's improved this year to 6:48. So on the rise. Now, Monet Nichols, silver medalist in the World Indoor Championships in Glasgow back in March. She's on her way to the Olympics after finishing 3rd in the US trials. Tiffany Flynn missed out. She won't be going to Paris. Finished 8th in Eugene, but still a very, very strong competitor indeed. And here, she's just got Ivana on her bib, that very large number. I'd like to think that they could make them a bit smaller. Anyway, so the reigning world champion, Ivana Spanovic, 2 times world indoor champion, 2016 bronze medalist, and she'll be going to Paris for her 5th Olympics.
An athlete that has transcended so many Olympic Games, so many major championships on the continent as well, world championships, and heading towards the end of her career.
It's a rather sparse-looking first heat of the women's 100 metres.
I was just thinking that. So we're due to have 5 athletes going in this first heat. We seem to be down to only 3. Siragusa, multiple world and European finalist as part of the Italian relay team, going in what looks like lane 3 now. Serena Cole, reigning world under-20 champion in the 4x1 and individual silver medalist from those championships as well. Touted as one of the future stars of Jamaican sprinting. Also NACAC under-18 champion in the long jump. Katyusha Jordan Nadizar on the outside of Slovenia. So we're down to just 2 or 3 athletes in heat 1 of the women's 100 metres, first in each heat, and then the 3 fastest times qualifying after that. Same qualifying rules as the men, but only 3 going in this first heat. Lanes 1 and 2 and 4 unoccupied. Siragusa in 3, Cole in 5, Jordan Nadizar in 6. So Siragusa, the fastest in this field on season's best times, but based off personal best, it is Cole who has it, and she's fast through the first 50 metres and charging towards the line. It will be Cole who takes the automatic qualifying space through to the final. 11.39, or just outside her season's best that time. 0.01 outside her season's best, so she's saving something for the final in there as well. You'd imagine she'll be taking a bit of time off that, looking to get closer down to her personal best of 11.13. She's quick out the blocks, quick through the first 50. And Siragusa trying to come back at her. And it was Cole who took the automatic qualifying spot.
Well, it'd be very harsh to disqualify Siragusa, but looking at that head-on shot, she was certainly taking quite a few steps on the line there coming down. And I'll have a little rant as well. I would have hoped they'd have closed up the competitors.
Yeah, it does seem unusual, doesn't it, to leave those berths unoccupied. It would have seemed, as you say, Phil, wiser to put them all amongst the middle lanes. As we go back to the men's shot put, Roger Steen.
Statunitense, personale di 22.08 per lui. Vediamo la risposta di Roger Steen in pedana in questo momento. E qualcosa sotto i 21 metri.
So into the second round of throws now. The lead held by Scott Lincoln of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, off to his second Olympics. He went out to 20 metres 72 in the second round. 20.48 for Roger Steen. Zane Weir in his club colours. Currently in 4th place with 19.65. We know he can do a lot better than that. He'll be looking for an improvement in this, the second round. And that will be an improvement. That looks over 20 metres. You can see the 21-metre line. It's a little bit short of that. I don't think it will be enough to overtake Scott Lincoln in the lead. Wait for confirmation. It will be an improvement, though, in the second round for Zane Weir. 20 metres and 18 into third place.
So now the second of the three heats in the women's 100 metres. And in lane 2, coming all the way from Iran, Farzana Fasihi, 2023 Asian Games silver medalist. So, Asian indoor champion over 60 metres. Tina Clayton, 2021 and 2022 World Under-20 champion. Oh, are we missing Clayton? She was on the start list. This is Crystal Slowly. Needed to be quick there. 10.99 this year in Kingston at the start of June. Then Maja Milanic Zidar of Slovenia. Now 35 years of age, 11.27 at the best. And on the outside, Georgia Bellinazzi of the Army Club, 11.54 competitor. Now the organisers here have closed up the lanes.
They heard
we
your
were
complaints,
expecting
Phil.
we were expecting to see Tina Clayton, the former World Under-20 champion, in lane 3, but Fasihi has been moved across. So it is in lane 3 Fasihi, and then to the outside, Crystal Slowly, Maja Milanic Zidar, and Georgia Bellinazzi. They're the 4 women in this heat. Yes. Fasihi falling out of her blocks there, certainly twitching, and that set everybody else off. Now, in these situations, is she just going to get a yellow card, or will it be deemed egregious enough to get a red card? So, talking about Slowly though, she really impressed at the start of June with that 10.99, which caught everyone's attention. Part of the big sprint group at the Kingston University of Technology, but in the end seems to be running out of steam a little bit, and that the recent Jamaican Championships didn't make the final, which was a huge disappointment. So she's really coming here for a brief European tour ahead of Paris to try and prove a point. So no warning seems to be given. Athletes back behind their blocks. Fasihi glancing out to her left. Oh yes, the referee is coming over now. Thumbs up from Fasihi. Seems to be acknowledging it was her fault. But as she's not moving out to the sidelines, we didn't see it, but I'm assuming it was a yellow card being shown there. So Fasihi just being told that she's got to stay steady in her blocks as they settle down for the second time of asking. From lane 3, Fasihi Iran, Slowly Jamaica, Milanic Zidar of Slovenia, and on the outside, Bellinazzi of Italy. Well, Slowly, exactly that out of the blocks, and it's Fasihi running well at the moment over the first 50 metres, but now the Jamaican starting to move up the ground and pull away from her Iranian rival. 11.41 for Crystal Slowly, belying her family name. Good one as well from Fasihi, not that far away from a personal best of 11.39. She's a quick starter, which is to be expected for the Asian indoor champion over 60 metres, but slowly starts moving well over the final 30-40 metres.
So we're into the third round now. Zane Weir improving in the second. His best so far in this competition, 20 metres 18. What can he do here? Well, that was better. That looked better. Maybe it was just the bounce. It looked a little further than 2018 for Zane Weir. It's still shy of the 21-metre line. Still piecing things together after that injury.
In 20:37 e terza posizione. Salto di Moni.
20:37, so another improvement. Consecutive improvements for Zane Weir, but no improvement when it comes to position. Still in third, Scott Lincoln leading the way with 20:72. He had a no-throw though in the third.
That second heat, confirmation, was won by Crystal Slowly, 11:41. Tell you what, let's not keep you in suspense. We know the six finalists now for the men's 100 metres later, and it is Malenga of South Africa, Campbell of Jamaica, Ciccarelli of Italy, the fastest man in those 100 metres heats, Kendall Williams of the United States, who ran 10:30 in the first heat, Longer of Colombia, and the very impressive Gary Card, just 17 years of age. He'll occupy lane 6 in the final. And Card, as we were saying, and Ellen was saying, looked as though he had plenty left. I'm sure he's going to give a really good challenge to the likes of Williams and his compatriot as well. So, our first glimpse of the long jump. This is Monet Nichols.
Ancora non salta di fare vedete c'è un birillo rosso. Prima dovremo presentare.
I apologise, it's Tiffany Flynn. Well, we're not going to see that jump, but we'll bring you up to date with all the action in a little while. Here's the third and final heat of the women's 100 metres.
You can see the lineup on your screen. This looks a more healthy heat in terms of those competing, the numbers. Kashona Niles of Barbados going in lane 2. Next to her, Christina Williams of Jamaica. Olympic finalist in Rio, silver medalist in the 4x1 that year too. Commonwealth Games silver medalist in 2018. Solara Barnes of the USA, she's a very quick starter. Watch out for how quick she gets out of the blocks. Aurora Berton of Italy, in just outside personal best form this season, 0.02 outside her personal best. She's looking to get closer to that mark of 11.56. And Kayla Lagrange of South Africa, the African under-20 relay champion and world under-20 finalist in the relay back in 2021. She's also in lifetime best form this season. So those are your 5 women to contest this final heat in our 100 metre heats. The final to come later on this evening. Niles goes in lane 2, Williams in 3, Barnes in 4, Berton in 5, Lagrange in 6. First over the line qualifies automatically, and then the next 3 fastest times accumulated from all the heats. So underway for the first time of asking, and you can see Barnes is such a quick starter, but so is Williams to the side of her. It's these two are starting to pull away. Barnes and Williams, there's nothing between them at this point as they head towards the line. Barnes will take it. Just able to ease away slightly from Williams in the end. They were matched through the first almost 90 metres. And it will be Barnes who takes the automatic qualifying spot. And we'll wait for confirmation of the other three joining our winners in the final. Here's Zane Weir. Can he improve once again? He can. A certain improvement in the fourth round for Zane Weir. Just shy of 21 metres. He's been piecing everything back together after that ankle sprain. And it seems like things are coming together at just the right time with just a couple of weeks left before the Olympics in Paris. That will be enough to see him into the lead, you'd imagine, as well. We'll wait for confirmation of the result. 20.85 for Zane Weir in the fourth round, and that should see him into the lead.
È la vuota del secondo salto di Anna Menz. Adesso Roger Steen.
Well, you can see a replay there. Barnes and Williams so well matched. Almost everything in time with each other. But Barnes just able to get the edge and over the line first.
Per la altoatesina trapiantata a Firenze. Tanto nella terza
and you just saw confirmation of the times flash up on your screen. We can bring you confirmation as well that Zane Weir is into the lead with 20.85. Second place now occupied by Scott Lincoln of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, 20.72. He was leading from the second round of throws. He's been pushed down. As we go back to the long jump.
Yes. Miscibelli now. Long jump led in the first round by Monet Nichols with 6.47.
Del gatto nella pedana del peso, Miscibelli nella pedana del lungo, due azzurri protagonisti in questo momento.
Miscibelli hails from Florence, competes for the Firenze Marathon Club. That's around the 6 metre mark. Has a best of 6.24.
Lorenzo Del Gatto, che per adesso è sesto con 19.17.
This is Veronica Crida.
19.28.
Well, the long jumpers benefiting as they're running in the opposite direction to the sprinters from helpful breeze on their back. A lot of the jumps have been between 1 and 2 meters per second, whereas I was just looking at the results on the European Athletics website, and you can go via the European Athletics website into the meeting results section. And even those 3 heats of the women's 100 metres were into the teeth of a breeze. I think all of them were over 1 meters per second. But by contrast, the long jumpers are going to get some advantage from this gusting breeze in the Stadio Tegil. Veronica Crida fast into the board. Just wondering whether she got the red flag though. With the naked eye, that looked very close to the plasticine. Using the old style red flag. They've got the Hawkeye technology there. They're not using the plasticine. Just waiting for confirmation of the distance. We're not seeing it flashed up on your screen. Oh yes, 6.07. So an improvement for her.
Oltre 20 metri, dovrebbe migliorare il 20.04, essere comunque molto lì vicino. Adesso la slovena Maja Bedrak.
So that was a bit confusing. That was 5.99. Her first round was 6.07. So Bedrac of Slovenia. had 6.26 with her first round attempt. Very focused. By contrast, you can see Tiffany Finn in the all-purple gear, looking very relaxed indeed. Redach. Well, I think there's a few Slovenian supporters in the crowd, judging from the clapping and support. Said we're only 30 kilometres from the border, and that's a good jump as well, over 6 metres. Redach doing well in this competition.
Il suo salto per adesso comanda Nichols Moni.
Set a personal best recently in Maribor. As a world under-18 bronze medalist back in 2015. Two field events going on simultaneously.
And it's Roger Steen of America back into the circle. His best so far, 20:48 in third place. Still, Zane Weir, who leads the way with one throw to go. He's already had his 5th round throw, and that was out to 20:49, so he'll be hoping with that 6th round to get a little bit closer, edge towards, if not over, that 21-metre mark.
Well, we'll bring you more from the shot put and the long jump very shortly, but we're now back on the track with the men's 400 metres hurdles. Good quality event, this. Derek Williams' meeting record of 48.68, which hails from 2006, might just be under a bit of threat. See there at the very centre of your screen, just settling into his blocks, Sergio Fernandez, Spanish record holder. On the outside, we've got Matteo Contini, as you can see from his vest, member of the Aeronautica Militar Club. A lot of athletes, a member of the public services clubs like the Air Forces or the police. Contini now 30 years of age. Broke 50 seconds a couple of years ago. 49.62 on his inside. 21-year-old Dominican Yerel Nunez. He is off to Paris. Improved to 49.05 last month in Nemeto. This is Sergio Fernandez. Just missed out on qualifying for Paris through the ranking system. 49.20 this year. 48.87 his Spanish record. Joshua Folds improved to 49.24 in Brussels in May. Finished 4th in the recent UK Olympic trials. Michele Bertoldi of the Carabinieri, the police club. And on the inside, Lorenzo Cesena. So 3 Italians in this race. From the inside, Cesena, Bertoldi, Folds, Fernandez, Nunez and Contini. On paper, this should be a battle between the men in 3, 4 and 5. The Briton Folds, Fernandez of Spain and Nunez, the emerging star from the Dominican Republic. And the tall, long-striding Nunez away very quickly indeed. Certainly the first to rise. Now starting to pull away from Fernandez and Folds on those inside. And he's already really tearing around this Stadio Tegil track. He set one personal best this year at an Italian meeting. Maybe this is a second on its way. He's looking really good in this race. Stride pattern just chopped slightly there, and Fernandez is coming back at him over this second half of the race. But with one barrier to go, it's Nunez looking extremely good, comfortably over that. Fernandez straining to try and claw back the deficit, but it's going to be Nunez, followed by Fernandez and Folds. That went very much to form. And Nunez, very happy indeed with that run. What do you make of that, Ellen?
Well, it's some incredibly brave running, isn't it? He went out like an absolute whippet, straight out of the blocks, didn't he? And for most of that race, he had no one to target and no one to look at. And I wondered, I was sort of waiting, you know, is there going to be a point where this tumbles down around him? And there wasn't. He kept driving towards the line, and he looked considerably the best coming towards the line in terms of form. He managed to hold it all together despite an absolute blistering first 200 metres.
Well, just very quickly before we go back to the shot put, you saw up on the screen there very quickly Nunez's time, 48.58, so a personal best and a meeting record for the Dominican.
Well, here's Zane Ware, final throw of the competition. It will give him a whole lot of confidence if he can get over that 21-metre line, and he's only gone and done it. That's what he needed going into the Olympics. That's what he wanted, and he left it to the final round. He had a gradual improvement throughout the competition. We're into the 6th round now. That's his final throw. It won't be near to his season's best of 21.93, but it will be an improvement. 21.29 for Zane Ware, coming back from injury and things clicking into place at the right time. Able to get back into competition, back into the circle, performing well, almost as he said on his Instagram just over a week ago. He's near to being back to his pre-injury results, his pre-injury form, and that'll give him some confidence. You felt, looking at his scorecard, that he needed to get over the 21-metre line, and he left it till the last throw, and he has done it, much to the delight of the Italian crowd.
Confirmation of the times. Nunez winning in 48.58, a new personal best and meeting record for the Dominican. That certainly has been the highlight of the meeting so far, as Ellen described it, coming home like a whippet. Wonderful description. Very, very, very poetic. Certainly painted a picture there of how Yamil Nunez came home for that 400 metres hurdles victory. Followed home well by Sergio Fernandez of Spain.
The Spaniard, though, he was just gritting his teeth, wasn't he? You could just see he was throwing everything out there, whereas it was the other way round as Nunez charged through the first 200. Well, we're into the closing stages. This the final throw of the shot put competition. Scott Lincoln, who had led the way until the halfway point, and that will be another improvement as well. He's left it late, like Zane Ware did, over the 21-metre line. He's in personal best form this season as he booked his place to another Olympic Games. 21.31 is personal best. Well, where will that be measured at? I think it will just be shy. I don't think it will be a personal best today. Yeah, 21 metres and 9 for Scott Lincoln, who looks on, and you can see he wanted a little bit more from that. Maybe he knows his form going into the Olympics. He certainly knows what he'll need to get out of qualifying, having not made it through into the final in Tokyo. He'll be looking to make it into the top stage at the Olympics and show what he can do.
I think Lincoln will be pleased with that, though, today. 20 centimetres in arrears of Zane Ware. And Lincoln, of course, will have got a massive confidence boost with that 4th place at the European Championships in Rome about a month ago.
you could just
Back
see
to the
him.
track.
Yeah, you could just see him squint and just. It was almost like a wince, wasn't it, when his mark was shown? I think, you know, he saw it go over the 21-metre line, and then maybe you start to hope. He knows the form he's in, and you know, we saw that at the Diamond League in Monaco. A lot of athletes saying, we know the form we're in, and we just can't quite make things click at this point, and it's going back to the drawing board in the 2 weeks that we have to then make sure that we're in top form, and then in comparison you have athletes peaking at completely the right time. So it will just be a few things, I think, for Scott Lincoln, where he'll go back to his team and want to just correct things going into the Olympics, where he knows you have to be absolutely perfect.
So Veronica Krida in the long jump, third round, 6:07 in the first round. This is a competition still being led by Monet Nichols at 6:43. Krida struggling a little bit. This is a 6:33 jumper at best. Has some international experience. Not an improvement there, not over 6 meters, 5:97.
So going back to the track for the men's flat 400 now. Samuel Lengauer of Austria, the 21-year-old national indoor relay champion in personal best form this season. Abdelmalik Lahoulou of Algeria going in lane 5. Wendell Miller of the Bahamas, 21-year-old national champion, also in personal best form this season, World Under-20 semi-finalist in 2021 in both the 100 and 200, so expect him to bring some pace. Luxolo Adams, someone who has faced a bit of disappointment over the course of the last couple of weeks. He put on his social media that he feels he's been unfairly treated by Athletics South Africa in being excluded from the Olympics team. Daquan Butler goes in lane 2 of the United States. Personal best set back in May in a win in Budapest. And Mathieu Gallet-Soler of Malta, the national champion, just 18 years old, going in lane 1. Lengauer in 6. Lahoulou in 5, Miller in 4, Adams in 3, Butler in 2, Gallet-Soler in lane 1. So a fairly even start, although you can start to see Adams and Miller laying down some early pace. Lahoulou as well. And it is Adams and Miller pulling away. Quick first 200 metres for these two. Round the bottom bend, there's not much to separate them at all. Where will the stagger leave them? They're shoulder to shoulder at the minute. Adams just starting to fade. And it will be Miller over the line. 45.69 for Miller. Luxolo Adams just fading into the last 100 metres. They were shoulder to shoulder most of the way through. Miller will take the win.
Well, that was a very impressive run, certainly down the home straight from Wendell Miller, just 21 years of age, and hasn't yet cracked 45 seconds. And Bahamas, of course, coming with a fantastic tradition over one lap of the track. Just think of the likes of Stephen Gardner, who will be going to the Olympics looking to do battle for the medals. And he's on the verge of getting into the Bahamian 4x400 metre team. Just needs to perhaps take a step further. Might do that over the remaining months of the season or perhaps next year. But certainly a talent.
Yeah, he's got age on his side when it comes to breaking into that national team, and you can see the result just flash up on your screen. It was a fast finish as well from Daquan Butler to take second place. And look, Solo Adams fading. Well, it's been a high-pressured week for him, expressing his emotions on social media about his treatment and how...
Right, so we've got the long jump now. Tiffany Fillin, we've seen her on the run-up already, once or twice. There's the current leader, Monet Nichols. 6:43. Well, it says that she's in second place now. Just have a quick look to see who's overtaken her, because the last time we did look at the long jump, she was definitely leading. But Maya Bedrak, which sadly we didn't see, that second jumped 6:49 in the second round. And it's a pity we're not getting replays of leading jumps. As far as Bedrak was concerned, that was a superb effort, equaling her personal best. So now, how does Monet Nichols respond to that? Just remember, she is Paris bound. Has a personal best of 6:86. Sorry, 6:97, but 6:86 this year, which she jumped in Eugene to book a ticket to Paris in a couple of weeks' time. At this distance, that looked as though it might have been a foul. Let's just have a quick look. Oh, it looks as though maybe she did get the white flag. Difficult to tell. I'm afraid our director's moving away a little bit quickly. You'll have to bear with us. But it's she's got good speed on the run-up though, hasn't she? You can see where she gets that distance from. I'll have to have a look and see what 100-metre times look like, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's around 11.2, 11.3, maybe even quicker. So 6:34, she's still in second place.
Zane Weir being presented with his trophy and flowers, taking top spot in the men's shot put.
So the first of two races in the women's 800 metres. Possibly the better races coming up shortly after this in about 20 minutes time. But there from the outside we see Alice Gasper of Italy. She'll probably be making the pace. Here's the best of the Italian contingent, 21-year-old Federica Pansini, 2:03.23 recently. Now we saw Mireia Lavric, and this is Jane Lostrand. Lostrand, 28 years of age now, second fastest woman in the field. There's two Italians, Piccolo and Colagianini, packed into lane 3. Piccolo might well be one of the other pacemakers as well. Giobelli proved recently to 2:06.31 from Brescia. Benoni, and then on the inside, Kloshnik of Slovenia and Freiburg of the United States. Samantha Freiburg improving to 2:03.23 at the US trials. So the women to look out for definitely, I think, on current form. Nobody this year in this race has gone under 2 minutes, but keep an eye for Pansini, Lavric and Lovstrand. Not much to choose at the moment. Probably looking for around a 59-second first lap. And it is Gasper on the outside who's bringing them round and making the pace. I don't think she's a very experienced pacemaker. She's herring away and isn't really paying very much attention to what's happening behind her. There's a good 5 metres between herself. And she's not encouraging the people behind her. So this is a bit of a solitary run. It's a bit of a waste, unfortunately, as far as the pacing's concerned. Lovstrand has made her way to the front of the chasing pack, as they're now starting to close the gap just slightly on Gaspard, the runaway pacemaker. She will come through in almost exactly a minute, 59.84. Well, Gaspard still continuing. Lovstrand behind her, Lavric back in the pack. And the South African now starting to pull in as Gaspard runs to the side. Gaspard's done her work, and it's Lovstrand out in front. Lovstrand, personal best back in 2017. And she was a World Championship semi-finalist at 2:01.51, and now looking as if she is definitely the star performer. Lavric on a shoulder, though. Colagianini in there as well. Now Lovstrand trying to hold off the Italian squadron massing on her outside, tracking her down, but it's still Lovstrand. She's managing to hold them off with about 50 metres to go. But Colagianini coming through, the Palermo athlete now overtaking as Lovstrand starting to tire. And coming the long way round, Freiburg takes second. But a good win for Colagianini, just outside her personal best. About half a second outside her personal best, just outside 2:04. Ellen, you've got a bit of experience of 800-metre running. What's your thoughts on that race?
Well, it was hard, wasn't it, with the pacer going off so quickly, like you said, Phil. I think potentially a bit of inexperience there. Denori, though, coming well around the outside. She had to go the long way. Look, she's all the way into lane 3. Closing well, though, to take second. Lovstrand, you could tell it was that sniper, lactic sniper, just in the last 50 metres. Struggling to stay on her feet even. You can see that over rotation, leaning well forward, just trying to get to the line. Taking third. It's always hard when the pacemaker goes off so quickly and you're unsure of whether to follow, whether to stick back. But a well-timed race in the end from our winner. Just sticking to our own guns.
Well done as well, I'd say, for spotting it was Denone coming through in second place. I called it as Freiburg. They were wearing very similar kit. Yes, I called that wrongly, but Colagianini it was indeed who took the win in 2:04 and change.
The winner of the flat 400, Miller, up onto the podium. It seems only the first place athletes that are coming out and onto the podium. They can get rid of the other 2 blocks. Although maybe after a flat 400, I'd quite like to use maybe the second position, the second podium, just to get up onto the top one. That could be quite a stretch with the legs struggling.
So there's the confirmed result of the women's 800 metres, and it is Maria Colagianini who takes the win in 2:04.47. And as I said, you can get all the results. They are live results going via the European Athletics website. That will lead you into the meeting websites, and you can pick them up from there.
We can see a shot of the athletes there for this second of our women's 800 metres. When you look at the times, arguably the better. We've got athletes in here who are on their way to the Olympics, including Lyndon Hall, who you can see at the top of the results screen, going as part of a very strong indeed Australian team over 1,500 metres. She was 6th at Tokyo in the Olympics. World Indoor finalist in 2022. Dropping down to 800 metres today, you can see Zago there on the outside. I imagine she'll be taking on the role of pacemaker, Samantha Zago. Her first 800 metres, she's a 400 metre specialist, which leads me to believe that she'll be taking these through as the pacemaker. 2 athletes sharing the berth behind her, lane 5. Sophie O'Sullivan of Ireland. Eloisa Corio, the first introduced to the crowd of that pair. Ina Vukovic of Croatia, also sharing lane 4 with McKenna Keegan. of the USA set a personal best on Friday in Ireland at the Morton Games, going sub-2. We'll see what shape she's in, how she's recovered from that with the travel, and just 2 days after off the back of that personal best, Christina Herring of Germany, a European finalist, World University Games silver medalist and 9-time national champion, multiple European youth medalists as well. It's Ibazabal of Spain. Carly Thomas of Australia, alongside Lyndon Hall, also the Australian, 33 years old now, off to Paris, as we said, part of a very strong 1500 metre team, including Jessica Holt, who set a new world record in Monaco on Friday. So 2 laps of the track for our women in our second 800 metres. A quick start from Zago, who we expect to be pacing this one. We'll see if she is able just to maybe do a slightly better job when it comes to addressing where the pack is behind her. It seems she has done in comparison to the pacer in the first race. Maybe just slowing things down. She's still gone off incredibly quickly. And the focus does seem to be on here. Lyndon Hall taking it upon herself to close that gap. The only athlete really trying to go with the pacemaker at this point. I do wonder whether they've just asked for an incredibly quick time, and that has maybe changed, or only a few athletes have asked for the quick time, and it was the pack that were just slowing things down. Zago of Italy, I expect to be pacemaking this one, just looking to the side. Lyndon Hall making her way round the outside now.
58.59 at the bell, and it's Hall now looking very good, strong indeed. Quite a few 1500 metre runners in this race, and they're looking for quick times. The likes of Sophie O'Sullivan obviously looking to get close to 2 minutes for the first time in her life. This is looking very good though at the moment for Lyndon Hall. She's obviously looking for a quick 800 metre runner, 800 metre race to set her on her way to Paris and confirm she's got the speed in her legs.
Yeah, Sophie O'Sullivan does come into this race having achieved some personal bests this season, but she is just struggling off the back at the minute. The youngster from Ireland, what time it is to be part of that Ireland squad. But Lyndon Hall is going to have to face some opposition and some challenges from behind. And unable to hold on in the end. Eloisa Chiorio, the athlete who was flying past her, able to time that to perfection to leave something in her legs for the last 50 metres.
Gran bel 1.59.26 per Eloisa Coiro, che si migliora di mezzo secondo, praticamente 40 centesimi.
Well, just looking at that replay, a superb finale to the race from Eloisa Coiro. Coiro, very experienced international athlete now. European under 23 800 metre silver medalist 3 years ago when we were in Tallinn. She's got a really good turn of speed. So that's not too far away from her personal best, Coiro, just a few tenths away. Now, Tiffany Flynn. I haven't yet seen a completed jump of Tiffany Flynn's. We've been over to the run-up a few times, seen her standing there, and then whiz back to the track events. I'd like to ask our local director, just let's stay with Tiffany for a short while. So, 6:33, we know she can do a lot better than that. As I said, eighth in the US Olympic trials, third in last year's Pan American Games, fourth in this year's World Indoor Championships, so a very good jumper indeed. Best of 6:71 this year, and the wind is on their backs.
giornalista pubblicista sin dal 1983, ha scritto di atletica leggera e di podismo per il Messaggero Veneto e per le riviste nazionali Correre, Jogging, La Grande Corsa e Vai.
Still leading, Maya Bedrich.
È uno dei fondatori storici del gruppo Marciatori Dinesi, atleta di assoluto valore, quindi facciamo un grandissimo applauso per il grande premio Fair Play 2024.
It's a slightly stuttering approach over the final half a dozen strides as she's chopping to try and get good placements on the board. She's not happy with the jump, that's for sure. You can tell that by the expression on her face. So, 6:32. 1 centimetre shy of her best in this competition, but well short of her personal best. So now, after 2 races in the women's 800 metres, it's the men's turn. And this is going to be a very packed track. On the outside, Luca Ostinelli, looking to him to take the pace, probably around 52 seconds. Rock Marquez of Slovenia. And then on his inside, Kelvin Lotti, who we just saw, a 1:44 man. 19-year-old Giovanni Lazzaro, semi-finalist last year at the European Under-20s. Like several of the athletes at this meeting, competes for the Aeronautica Militar Club. Luke Boys, the quickest man in this field, ran 1:44.73 in Adelaide back in March. Fastest man in this field, but has missed out on Olympic selection. Amel Tuka, 2-time World Championship medalist and 6th at the last Olympic Games. This is Zachary Mamayari of Canada and Tommaso Maniscalco. On the inside, Zahir Hader from Barletta, down in Sicily, and Naim Mamou of Israel, second in the European Under-18s on home soil back in 2022. Very much the hero of those championships for the Israeli home crowd where they were held in Jerusalem. National Under-20 record holder, Mamou. But the fastest man in this field, Luke Boys. Well, there was quite a bit of debate in Italy. I should say in Australia. We're in Italy. In Australia about whether Boys should get the third and final 800-metre slot over Joe Deng. In the end, went to Deng. Boys in Europe now, looking to prove a point. As we look at Ostinelli racing away. But he's not doing a very good job of pacing. Runners up on his inside, tripping over him. He drifted out to the second lane. Ostinelli now starting to understand what his task is. Maniscalco there. Also Boys, diminutive figure of the Kenyan, Kelvin Lotti. See him in the orange vest. Botterill up there, we haven't mentioned him, but World Under-20 semi-finalist back in 2020. 52.59 at the bell. And it's Botterill now. Still battling with the pacemaker. The pacemaker, frankly, didn't do a very good job. It was Botterill who did all the hard work over the final 100 metres on that first lap, but he's now battling away with Luke Boys as they're coming up to 200 metres to go. Lotti trying to close the gap. Lotti now moving up into third. The Kenyan, well, that last 100 metres was a very quick one for the Kenyan. So it's 3 abreast coming into the home straight. From the inside, Botterill, Boys and Lotti. And now Lotti on the outside. Lotti starting to go through the gears, looking very good indeed. He's only run 1:46 this year, but a great run from him. Tuka running very hard as well. Tuka, usually a fast finisher, but too much ground to make up. 1:46.43 unofficially for Kelvin Kimtai Lotti. Good win on the international circuit for the Kenyan, just outside of his season's best.
Well, he was rocking and rolling, wasn't he, towards the line, just hoping that it would get there. The head was swaying, the arms were driving hard. It had done more than enough to see that through with what looks like from that angle a fair bit of daylight. And with him straying so far to the right hand side, it just left a bit of space for the other athletes to work their way through for the minor positions behind.
I think it was Lazzaro coming through very strongly for third place, the 19-year-old Italian. That was a good run from Lazzaro as well, but no doubt at all about the winner, Lotti, with that very, very good turn of speed over the final 200 metres. He started his surge at around 250 metres to go and then just kept it going. So, back to the long jump. I've seen bits and pieces of the long jump. Maya Bedrich, Slovenia still leading. This is Naldi, one of the Italians. Elisa Naldi, personal best of 6:48. She's done that this year. 6:22 in the second round for Naldi, and this is the fifth round at the moment. Getting plenty of support from the crowd. Naldi now 25 years of age, and yet another athlete from the Carabinieri club. It's not going to be much of an improvement, and a big grimace on Elisa Naldi's face. You can see the difference in speed on the run-up between the likes of Naldi and, let's just say, Tiffany Flynn or Manoy Nichols, who we saw a little bit earlier. Jumped a personal best, though, at 6:48 earlier this year in Palermo. Tiffany Flynn down in third place at the moment with 6:33. Saw her in the last round jumping 6:32.
Come on, Tiffany.
Well, 6:49. The mark to aim at. Certainly a mark that she's very capable of beating.
Come on, Tiffany.
You can hear the infield announcer imploring the crowd, come on, Tiffany. I wonder if she's paying any attention to that. Monet Nichols giving every support, getting the crowd behind her on the sidelines. I think that's a red flag. Let's wait for confirmation, though. Well, Tiffany Flynn very quick on the run-up.
Si migliora, va in seconda posizione Tiffany Flynn, 6:44 in second position Tiffany Flynn.
So she moves up a little bit as we just see the confirmation of the results in the men's 800 metres. 1:46.42 to Lotti of Kenya. Good win from him.
So 2 400-metre races for the women. Maya Cilic, 8-time national champion, 8-time Serbian indoor champion as well, going in lane 6. Marley William of South Africa, World University Games winner in 2023, the 23-year-old. Veronica Durilajic going in lane 4. And Milagros Duran of Dominican Republic in lane 3. Previous World Under-20 finalist. So just 4 athletes in this first of 2 races. Second to come straight after, featuring 5, including Stephanie Ann McPherson.
On your marks.
So the athletes called to their blocks. Siric going on the outside in 6. Viljoen in 5. Julajic in 4. Duran in 3. First of 2 women's 400-metre races. Viljoen of South Africa, and the quickest on paper. He's made a good start. You can see they're already working their way up and trying to get onto the shoulder of Siric, who opens that gap up through 150 metres to the bend, and it looked like Viljoen had tried to close the gap and Siric should open it up, but Viljoen starts to make her way round into the home straight in the lead. Julajic fighting back though, the Croatian national champion. It'll be close on the line. I think Viljoen just getting there first, 52.63. Looked like the South African just had enough to dip on the line. Julajic finishing fast.
It was very close though, wasn't it? I wouldn't like to have guessed or taken a bet on which one of those 2 will get the verdict. It'll go down to the photo finish.
I think just based on that, it looks like Viljoen.
Yes, Viljoen indeed, I think, does get it. The head-on shot, there wasn't much to choose between them.
It might even show that there wasn't a huge amount. Back to Siric as well, Maja Siric finishing strongly after Viljoen had closed well.
Viljoen, one of a large contingent of South African athletes who are now based in Europe, on the way to Paris, some of them going, some of them looking for races around the international circuit. So here's Veronica Krida, was a finalist at the European Under-23 Championships in 2021. Krida down in 7th place at the moment, 6:09. Struggling a little bit, it has to be said. This, frankly, rather modest long jump competition, led at the moment by Maja Bedrac, Slovenia, the only jumper to impress, equaling her personal best with 6:49. Krida, though, part of the Brescia 1950 club. Personal best from a couple of years ago, from 2021 at 6:33. Hasn't really moved on since then. And of course, Italian long jumping, at least from the women's side, led by Larissa Iapicino. She's going to be looking for a medal in Paris. Krida a bit behind Iapicino at the moment.
Esce dalla pedana di Lignano con un bel sorriso. Veronica la bionda, a lungo avversaria di Larissa Iapicino.
Good sprinting speed, good cadence, but never really gets the lift.
Un bel secondo posto agli assoluti per lei. Andiamo a vedere il risultato di questo ultimo salto.
So completes her competition with 6:02, stays down in 7th place.
Ma prima
So on to the second of our women's 400-metre races. Sofiqua Maloney of St Vincent going in lane 6 on the outside lane. There's Stephanie Ann McPherson, so well decorated on the world stage as part of the Jamaican relay team. She was 4th in Tokyo in the individual event as well. She goes to Paris as part of the relay team. Another well decorated athlete in terms of relay medals on the world and European stage. Emma Pippi of Great Britain and Northern Ireland going in lane 4. Alyssa Schmidt of Germany off to Paris as part of the German relay team. 2-time European finalist in the 4x4, 25-year-old. Shanna Kay Anderson of Jamaica, 3-time NACAC under-23 medalist. Looking very focused indeed in lane 2.
On your mark.
Maloney in 6, McPherson in 5, Pippi in 4, Schmidt in 3, Anderson in 2. Well, Maloney in lane 6, she has the fastest time on paper. Personal best, season's best of 50.75 set this season. And she's gone off very quick indeed. The fastest personal best, of course, Stephanie Ann McPherson in lane 5. And she'll be staring at the back of Sofiqua Maloney, who is flying around the first 200 metres. Unfortunately, due to the camera, there you can start to actually see how far ahead Maloney is of everyone else. You can see McPherson starting to fight back. It's almost level between the 3 athletes. Schmidt just off the back of them. Maloney, she's starting to tire slightly. That gap seems to be closing. Has she got enough to get to the line? It seems she will do, all the way from lane 6. McPherson comes through for second, but Maloney taking the win. 50.65 will be a new personal best. She's been in great form this season, a new meeting record as well. Some brave running. She was quick out the blocks, quick through the first 200 metres. And she had no one to target, no one to look at all the way through, being in lane 6, and ran so well from the outside lane. That's a very impressive performance indeed to take down the meeting record and improve on her own personal best set this season.
Yes, the second meeting record of the evening. The first one going to Yelel Nunez in the men's 400 metres hurdles at 48.58. Now Tiffany Flynn, she's moved up to second with 6:44. She's looking for 5 more centimetres to get on par with Maya Bedrach. Slovenian leading the way with 6:49. Finn, 8th in the US Olympic trials just a couple of weeks ago. He's been steadily improving throughout the competition, and that 6:44 came in the last round. 6:49, and she takes the lead on countback. So both her and Bedrach have jumps of 6:49, but on the basis of second best jumps. Now, Maya Bedrach, she's just been pushed back. As you can see there, she was going for broke after that 6:49 in the first round. So Bedrach needs 6:45 to grab the lead back on countback. Alternatively, 6:50 and a personal best outright would do. And looking very focused, charging down the run-up. Absolutely giving everything, but Just gave it a little bit too much. Never mind. Equaling your personal best is something to be very proud of indeed, even if you ended up getting the win taken away from you at the very last gasp. But just to bring you up to date on Ivana Spanovic, well, Spanovic jumped 6.29 in the first round and then has passed all her other attempts. I've seen her down there, sitting down, but I just hope it's not a reoccurrence of the injury. She's coming back to jumping at her first competition this year in Paris a week ago with a very modest 6.17. We can't really bring you much more of a health update on Ivana Spanovic. As we look there at the winner, though, Tiffany Flynn. Hug from Maya Bedrich, who she ousted from pole position with the penultimate jump of this competition. There's confirmation. Tiffany Flynn and Maya Bedrich, both 6.49, but Flynn gets it verdict by virtue of the second best attempt. Ivana Spanovic there, down in fourth with 6.29, almost a metre down on her Croatian national record. And she's had fitness issues, we know that. She didn't go to the World Indoor Championships. So Shafiqua Maloney, meeting record of 50.63 for St Vincent's and the Grenadines in the 400 metres. So the penultimate men's event on the track, the 1500 metres, as we see Maloney getting the gold.
Alla partenza una delle gare più attese di questo meeting, 1500 metri uomini, 18 atleti al via, c'è il finalista mondiale delle siepi, il tunisino.
This is a very packed field indeed. No less than 17 men squashed, I think is the right word, into this 6-lane track. That's almost 3 per lane. Well, it is 3 per lane. Let's just pick out a few of them, including the man who won here 12 months ago, Joe Lascombe. He's in there somewhere, the American. Just finished at college at University of Washington, 7th in the Olympic trials, American collegiate 1500 meter champion. Another couple to look out for. João Bosotto Neves Jr., very good Italian. Took bronze at the European Under-23 champs back in 2015. Archie Davis and Thomas Keane from Great Britain indeed as well in there. A little bit short on information about who's going to make the pace. And man looking at his watch. Well, we don't have the pacemaker on our list, unfortunately. Mane, he's a late addition to this race, the Italian. So we're looking for about 58 seconds through 400 metres. That'll bring them through in around 3:34, 3:35 pace. That's quick, 56.82. That's very quick for an opening lap of this standard of 1500 metres. Behind him it's Thomas Keane, European Under-18 3,000 metre champion back in 2018. Thomas Jude as well, the Australian, that's up there. Well, Mane took them round, perhaps even a little bit too quickly over that first 400 metres. Thomas Jude now looking behind him. He's a 3:37 man. Mayanya of Uganda behind him, one of the quicker men in the field at 3:34. Hasn't run that quickly though this year. Ugandan, a 3:37 man recently. Lascombe looking very confident up there as well. Improved his personal best. 1:56.94, so that's much better pace. So Thomas Jude still leading the way. 1:56 is good pace for 3:34, 3:35. Mayanya, the Ugandan, still behind him.
Passaggio al 1000 in 2:25 più o meno.
Seamas, the Lithuanian there, all in black as well up there. And that's Thomas Keane coming through now. Keane, I think, is looking to have a good run. Personal best of 3:36.76.
Struggled a bit with injury and consistency recently, but started to look a bit more like himself at the British Championships and Olympic trials, and he's taken to the front. Archie Davis up there as well, who's been there and thereabouts all race, sat in a good position, but Tom King's going to have to do some defending here.
Yes, 2:55. That's a good first kilometre. 500 metres to go. Bussotta Neves coming through as well. Keane now starting to struggle just a little bit as the rest of the athletes coming around. Gahanui, the Tunisian, up front now, but they're racing down this home straight. This has been a quick last 400 metres, and it's the Tunisian Janawi who takes it. 3:35.91 for the Tunisian. So, big personal best for him. Taking more than a second off his personal best. Coming through very strongly over that final 150 metres. So, a real massed finish, as you might expect with that lineup. Janui just battling with Samuel Praco, World Road Mile bronze medalist from Riga last year. Praco indeed won't have been that far outside of his personal best as well. Defending Lignano champion Wascombe, leaving it a little bit late. Just perhaps getting caught in the pack.
There's just so many in contention ones in there, and going into that last 400 metres, it could have been any out of probably heading towards 10 athletes charging round in a pack.
As you rightly said, I thought Thomas Keane had done all the right things over the final first kilometre, and then we came up to the bell though, and he seemed to just start to tire, and the gas seemed to just seep out of his tyres. However, plaudits go to Mohamed Jinawi of Tunisia, a new personal best. And we're very quickly back on the track with the women's 1,500 metres.
Yeah, very similar situation here when it comes to numbers. There is a lot in this field. We're expecting 18.
That's a ridiculous amount for this size of track.
Yeah, I'm just taking another look and going side by side and making sure everyone is here. There's I wonder if we were expecting Sophie O'Sullivan to line up in this one. I haven't seen a glimpse of her. Oh, there she is on the outside. She did end up running a big personal best in that 800 metres. She was off the back, but it was a quick race, and you can see she's just taking a few more deep breaths in than the athletes around her. Sophie O'Sullivan, who's already set a personal best tonight in the 800 metres, going again now in the 1,500 metres.
I'll tell you what, I think O'Sullivan's in there to set the pace for the Australians who she trains with, Hollingsworth, Bat Doyle, and also Carly Thomas. I know that she's very involved. Of course, she spends most of her time in Australia. I think she might well be taking the pace for those three over the first 800 metres. I can't see her finishing this race.
No, not off the. She gave everything, didn't she, in that 800 metres, and that would have been her priority. She's got close to that 2-minute mark in the 800 metres that we've seen just, well, it can't be more than 10-15 minutes ago now. So I imagine, Phil, that's probably a very good call. And like you said, we've got a number of Australians in here. The Australian champion over 800 metres, Hollingsworth, just 19 years old. Izzy Bat Doyle as well, off to the Olympic Games, over 5,000 metres, going in this one. Just trying to get a shot of some of the bibs to see where the positionings are. You might be getting a better look at it than we are. Mia Ramsden as well, Maya Ramsden, you can see there in the on colours. One to look out for in this race. Quick personal best, very quick indeed, of 4:02. The double NCAA champion and NCAA indoor champion as well, pulling on the New Zealand colours at the Olympics. Personal best and season's best of, like we said, 4:02.58, that national record set this season. Alex Millard, you can see there as well, part of the mixed relay team that won bronze at the World Cross Country Championship. She's been studying and training at Loughborough, but will move stateside to Providence to start her college career. 22-year-old, also in personal best form this season, 4:05. So it's a stacked field in terms of talent and numbers as well, and we'll keep an eye out for where the pacemaking rolls come from, and you can see it's a quick start for Sophie O'Sullivan, so we imagine that she'll be pacemaking. There we go, she just decides to click her watch, just making sure everything's going along technology-wise for her to do the best job for her teammates. You can see Ramsden already up and out of trouble with a fast starting 1500 metres. You always want to get into your positions as early as possible, and Ramsden has done that alongside Visser as well. You can see wearing the on colours as well, 3 on athletes in that green strip. Hollingsworth is one of them, the Australian. Visser, the 2023 Italian national champion, the former NCAA champion as well, so Visser and Ramsden, between them, the last 3 years of NCAA champions on the track, over 1500 metres. Zargo once again of Italy taking on the early pacing duties. O'Sullivan tucked in behind her. Well, if they're going to do consistently for a round, if you're basing it off Ramsden's personal best, potentially 4:02, you'd be looking at just under, maybe around 64-minute laps if we're doing consistent splits. It is the 3 on athletes who lead the way after our 2 pacemakers. Zargo stepping to the side and leaving it to O'Sullivan, who has Visser up onto her shoulder. Izzy Blackdoyle in the middle of the pack there. Just testing her speed potentially over 1500 metres, as we said, going in the 5,000 at the Olympics.
Well, they went through 700 metres unofficially in 1:54, and it's still O'Sullivan out there. She's looking at her watch, bringing round her 3 Australian training partners, just helping them along. She's looking as though she's struggling, though. I mean, it's a quick turnaround for even an athlete as talented as Sophie O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan, of course, did a fantastic job of winning under 20 titles, and that's it for O'Sullivan. She's left it open now to Visser to lead the way as the rest gang up behind her.
Yeah, not surprised. Not surprised to see O'Sullivan maybe struggling, like you say, a little bit, Phil, because she went through 800 metres in 2 minutes 11 after just going, well, 2 flat almost in the 800 metre race before. But Visser leading the way. They're on for just under 4:06, I think, at the last split by my reckoning. And Visser will try and turn the pace now with Ramsden still there behind her. Hollingsworth is there as well. The on-athletes dominating the top of this pack, and you can spot them in those green vests. Ramsden, eyes up, fixed on the back of Visser. Hollingsworth making her way round into 3rd place, the Australian. But Visser leading the way of the 2 athletes who start to move their way around, or attempt to. Ramsden trying to overtake the athlete who held the NCAA title the year prior to her first one, and Hollingsworth made a good run out the outside now. She's managed to weave her way through. Visser trying to hold on, grimacing and pushing for the line, and Visser will take it, arms in the air, 4:03. Hollingsworth doing a really good job of weaving around the athletes either side of her to make her way up into 3rd. I don't think Ramsden was able to hold on to, up into 2nd even, I don't think Ramsden was able to hold on to 3rd. And a good run from Visser, who, bar the pacemakers, pretty much led from the start. And a popular winner here in front of an Italian home crowd.
Yes. Certainly she did everything in that race, and she even had the luxury of being able to look around as she was coming down the home straight. Nobody else in the field had anything to challenge her. Vista just had everything in her armoury as she was coming away from the rest of the athletes. Even had a second gear in the final 40 metres just to make sure of a victory, and quite deservedly getting the applause of the home crowd here. 4:03.35.
Fractionally.
2 seconds outside her best.
Yeah, but fractionally a new season's best. Big smile on her face, and wonder whether Aragon just had enough to get through for third in the end. Wait to see the results pop up. The 3-on athletes who may have just got a top 3. Looks like they did. A new meeting record as well for Visser.
Yes, and there's the men's 1500 metre results. 3:35.90 for Jinawi of Tunisia. Personal best by just over a second for him, and just fractionally outside of his personal best for the American Samuel Prakol in second place. Just to remind you, they're turning over the results very quickly here for myself and Ellen, but you can get all the results via the European Athletics website. So just go onto the European Athletics website and follow the links to the local organisers' website. They've got all of them there. So we'll bring you up to date with the women's 1500 metres results once they're confirmed, but we have the women's 100 metres, the last women's event on the track. 6 women having come through the earlier heats. Not much really to choose between them at either, based on the performances. Fashihi of Iran, last year's silver medalist at the Asian Games, best of 11:39.
Gli azzurri che vanno a Parigi, Zeidei e Luisa Coio. Non ha fatto primato del meeting, ma ha fatto primato personale. Sinta Vissa, stagionale primato del meeting.
Siragusa straight through as one of the fastest non-automatic qualifiers in that rather strange first heat with only 3 runners. They could have got away with actually only 2 heats, but the organisers decided to go with 3. Darkness just starting to fall over the Adriatic coast here. Still about 28, 29 degrees though. Breezy, but still very warm. Here she is, Fazana Fasihi of Iran. Alongside her, heat winner and the fastest woman in the heats, Celera Barnes. Barnes winning that third heat very comfortably. Christina Williams, 11 performer, chased down Barnes in that third heat. Crystal slowly, 10.99 in Kingston in June, but a bit of a disappointment. Didn't make it out of the semi-finals at the Jamaican Championships. Serena Cole, close to her season's best in winning her heat in 11:39, just 100th away from it. And Irina Siragusa on the outside. So 3 Jamaicans, an American, an Iranian, an Italian. From the inside as they settle into their blocks for the women's 100 metres final. From the inside, Fasihi of Iran, Barnes, United States, Then 3 Jamaicans. Slowly, Cole and Williams, and on the outside, Siragusa of Italy. Ooh, Barnes stumbling out of her blocks there. She didn't have a good start at all. She's got a lot of ground to make up slowly on her outside. But Barnes is coming through strongly. But I think it's just, the verdict just goes to slowly in 11:25 unofficially.
Well, there's hardly anything to separate them, was there? Barnes is usually so good with her starts, so quick. Just struggling on that occasion.
Well, they're still waiting for the verdict in the stadium.
Cole's finishing fast as well.
Looking up at the screen. Well, it's Williams that's getting the verdict, though. Williams out of lane 3. Looks as though it was going to be slowly. I thought slowly had just done enough on the lane outsider, but Williams just managed to hold off the fast finishing slowly making up a lot of ground. No, Williams it was indeed that gets the verdict. 11:24, the time's revised to.
Storia di atletica, storia di salto in alto. Siamo ai risultati ufficiali anche della finale di 100 donne.
Tiffany Flynn. She's got her flowers. She's on her way back to the Meet Hotel. Possibly to watch the Euro 24 final that comes up later. I don't know whether she's a soccer fan or not. But
we can
the
speculate.
Meeting's wrapping up deliberately so that we can all go off and watch the match.
I think that's why we started early, wasn't it? Just for our benefits and maybe the benefits of any Spaniards out there.
Yeah, we're running about 12, 13 minutes late. Nevertheless, Christiana Williams gets the verdict, 11:24. Solera Barnes, 11:24. Serena Cole in third, 11:26. And Crystal Slowly, 11:27. So you did need a photo finish to separate them.
Yeah, not surprised to see Cole up there. I did think she was finishing fast, and you know, she may have held something back. She was it close to a personal best, if not a new personal best around that on the in the heat. I can't quite remember at the pace the athletics has flown past us. These races have flown past us over the course of the last 2 hours. But not surprised to see her up there at all. Ronald Longa of Colombia, you can see. And there's, well, sure to be fan favourite in this race. Ceccarelli of Italy going in the centre of your screen. European indoor champion. As we prepare for the start of the final race.
E andiamo a vedere I protagonisti dei 100 metri uomini. In corsia 1 ha vinto il mondiale nel 2017.
Retsudi Sitswe Malenga of South Africa going in lane 1 in lifetime best form this season. Next to him, Michael Campbell of Jamaica in lane 2. And wait to hear the cheer for Samuel Ceccarelli of Italy, the home favourite.
Qualche problemino quest'anno, ma sta rientrando alla grande 10-21 di assoluti, Samuele Ceccarelli.
Given the big build-up from the stadium announcer, the European indoor champion, going in lane 3, coming through, qualifying with 10.40. Kendall Williams, the only man in this field under 10 seconds this season of the USA. He goes in lane 4. Ronald Longa, medalist at the South American Championships. Personal best of 9.99. He goes in lane 5. And the young Jamaican, Gary Card, one to watch though. Could he do something from the outside lane here? Certainly looked impressive in qualifying. One to watch for the future.
17 anni, il futuro della velocità giamaicana.
So the final event of the day. You can see there's still quite a significant breeze as the flag flies in the background. It just drops slightly. Perfect timing if that flag stays still. I'm unsure based on the wind readings from the earlier races that it will. Final moments of preparation for these athletes, and then in the final of the 100 metres. Well, if Kendall Williams can run close to that season's best and personal best time, we could be on for another meeting record here. Malenga in 1, Campbell 2, Ceccarelli 3, Williams goes in 4, Longa 5, Card in 6. The final of the men's 100 metres. Well, it's a good start from Card on the outside. Ceccarelli going well. Fairly even across the middle. The two in the lanes to the side, 4 and 5 coming through fast. Williams and Longa. I think Williams just getting there at the end.
Adesso si ricomincerà con il pre-meeting che diventa post-meeting, cioè da fare il salto in alto ragazze e le staffette.
Well, certainly the local director thinks it's Williams who got the verdict. Williams doing a very good job in lane 4, holding off the fast starting Ceccarelli and then moving ahead.
Yeah, it was only around the 50 metre mark that they started to pull away. Yeah, Williams taking it from Ronald Longa. Good run from the outside as expected from Gary Card, promising young Jamaican. I'll wait for confirmation of the time. I didn't see it flick up on the screen. Oh, there it is. 10.21 into a minus 1.5 wind. So the wind playing havoc slightly throughout the course of the day. Confirmation of the win for Kendall Williams of the USA.
Well, as the crowds leave the Estadio Turgil to go home and watch the Euro 24 final, which kicks off in 5 minutes' time. It's time for myself, Phil Minchell, and Ellen Ellard also to say goodnight. We've had a terrific evening's athletics at this annual Lignano meeting, 3 meeting records. We hope you've enjoyed it as well. We've also got more European athletics live streams coming up from Lucerne in Switzerland on Tuesday and Selle Lega on Wednesday, coming to you from Italy. Good night.